Hello, runners. My name is Klaas Lok. I'm a former 24 times champion from the Netherlands with a personal best at 10,000 meters of 28 minutes and 24 seconds. I would like to introduce to you a different and unique approach regarding training for distance runners from 800 meter to marathon. An approach of which UK Runners World recently said innovative. This different approach is called the easy interval method, and I wrote a book about it with the same name as title. This easy interval method brought me and other fast runners great success, but it also helped many slower runners improve their personal best and rediscover their enjoyment in running. Nowadays, the so-called 80-20% intensity distribution is quite popular. Around 80% of your mileage should be easy in the low aerobic zone and 20% hard in the anaerobic zone. This is advised to you by many coaches and famous exercise physiologists. However, I disagree. Easy interval training is more effective and more enjoyable for most of you. American Martin Daniel said, "Thanks, Klaas Lok. Monumental work. It's fun, it's easy, and I'm getting faster on only 4 sessions a week." In the article that can be found via the link in the text below this video, I explain extensively why this popular 80-20 training, so-called polarized training, is not the most efficient training for the normal runner, while easy interval training is. I will discuss running economy, the elasticity, pop, bounce in your legs, muscle fiber composition, and energy supply. The article is quite long. In this video, I will give you the shorter version. Firstly, you have to know that muscle fibers can be divided in two different main types: slow twitch, type 1, fast twitch, type 2. On average, most regular runners have about a 50-50% ratio of type 1 to type 2 fibers in their largest leg muscles. However, top distance runners have a much higher percentage, about 80 to sometimes 90% of slow twitch fibers, while for top sprinters it is the other way around. Because of this difference in muscle fiber composition between normal and top runners, normal runners should not copy the training approach of world class runners. What is basic training? A lot of slow endurance training in Zone 1 widely regarded as basic training aimed at developing the aerobic endurance of the slow twitch fibers and usage of fat as fuel. This works well for top runners who got a high percentage of slow twitch fibers and always keep their springy running style thanks to being lightly built, having thin legs with resilient muscles and tendons, and perform up to 12 or more occasionally running sessions per week, in which many fast kilometers compensate for any lost running economy. Gratitude to these faster miles, top runners also train the aerobic function of the fast twitch muscle fibers and the perfect usage of energy, fat, carbo, lactate. Unfortunately, this approach is much less effective for normal runners, with a more or less around 50-50% muscle fiber composition. It has been scientifically proven that they need more time to recover. Also, they perform just 3 to 7 sessions a week, with the largest part of the training being easy runs. Together with carrying more weight, this causes many runners developing a heavy running style and not fully developing the aerobic function of the fast twitch fibers. 50 years of experience taught me that basic training should be as follows. Basic training should be aimed at making the most of the so-called reactivity, that is, the elasticity, pop, bounce in your legs, of all leg muscles and tendons. Basic training should not only focus on the aerobic function of the slow twitch muscle fibers, also on the aerobic function of the fast twitch muscle fibers. These aerobic properties of the fast-twitch fibers are mainly used at higher speeds, not only at 800 and 1500 meters, but also at 10 kilometers, and for many runners, also at a marathon. The American physiologist Dr. San Milan also showed the importance of training zone 3 and zone 2. He did this from the perspective of fuel supply and development of the mitochondria. Next, you will see a graph of San Milan, which can be found on the internet. The maximum heart rate of a little bit above 175 is just an example. From this graph, we can learn that training in zones 2 and 3 provides a mix of using fat, carbo, and lactate, while in zones 4 and higher, the body primarily relies on carbo and lactate. When racing a 10K, most normal runners will be in zone 3 and or zone 4. However, with slow endurance training in zone 1, a runner will predominantly train their slow twitch fibers and the fat burning system, which is not efficient. Dr. San Milan believes that zone 2 intensity is optimal for triggering improvements in your mitochondria, the so-called powerhouses in our cells that use oxygen to convert food into energy. According to him, if you stay in zone 1, your mitochondria won't be working hard enough to spur significant improvement. Additionally, I believe that regular training at zone 3 intensity is also important to ensure the lactate shuttle also contributes to the energy supplies. And the results show it. This all supports the easy interval method. A runner who focuses more on running economy and training of the aerobic function of the fast twitch fibers, according to the easy interval method, will significantly improve two neglected engines. Experience has shown that this approach has resulted in substantial improvements over various race distances for runners who hadn't progressed for years. Dutchman Bertel Berger said, "My reactivity increased to a level I had never had before. From a mediocre runner, he became a national athlete in 3 years' time, winning medals in Dutch championships." German runner Andreas Keil said, "I feel like an aerobic monster." After 10 years of stagnation, he improved his personal best at the age of 35. What does this all mean for your training? As a normal runner with a more or less 50-50 fiber distribution, you should do a lot of your training in the high-end aerobic zone. Why? Because a runner with more type 2 fibers needs more sessions at a relatively higher speed, moderate and fast, in order to recruit the aerobic fast twitch fibers. However, be careful, a 50-50 runner needs more recovery time and is more vulnerable to overtraining. Therefore, do not perform regular up to 3 fast endurance runs of 30 minutes or more every week. You will get tired and overtrained within a few weeks. No, you have to cut such a fast run in pieces with sufficient, almost complete, recovery after each fast interval. Easy interval method does this in a safe, efficient, and enjoyable manner, and the book provides detailed schedules for it. Most runners who follow these schedules experience the following benefits. 1. Better training of the so-called lactate shuttle. 2. Lighter training program, more fun in training. Improved reactivity, elastic energy bound in the legs, which gives a better running economy, a better finishing sprint. Number 4. Most runners report fewer injuries. Of course, once used to this way of training. 5. Better training for all the masters runners to maintain speed and reactive running. Many Masters World Records have been beaten by easy interval method runners. For example, German Silke Schmid broke a dozen Masters World Records. 6. You will be fitter and better prepared before races. 7. Faster recovery after races. 8. Much quicker return to fitness after a period of not training, after illness or injury. Number 9. Runners who stagnated for many years beat their personal best with, for example, minutes at 10K. What about the 20% anaerobic training in the 80-20 approach? That is 20%. Why would the slower runner who completes the 10 kilometers in 50-60 minutes or slower, which for many runners is slower than the anaerobic threshold, spend 20% of the training at an intensity around and above the anaerobic threshold? An intensity that will probably only be reached in the final sprint for 1 or 2 minutes. I myself hadn't performed any heavy anaerobic paces for 6 months and ran at 10,000 meters in 28-24. I only performed a few fast endurance runs, 7 to 8 kilometers, and 4 cross country races. All the rest was easy interval methods training. When I didn't need it for 28-24, why should a slower runner, a normal runner, perform 20% of his training as hard anaerobic training? Forget it. Follow my advice in my book, How to Prepare and Peak for Your 10K. In conclusion, the easy interval method is characterized by a total, all-round approach that, from the beginning, addresses the endurance of the aerobic slow and fast twitch muscle fibers, as well as specific muscle strengths and running economy, and this all in almost every session. For example, an easy interval method session of 4 or 6 times 1K aimed at zone 3, the total of fast, which means high end aerobic, kilometers is 4 or 6. The total of easy kilometers, including warm up and cool down, about 7 or 9. Every session also includes a few strides at the end of the warm up. So you are training several aerobic zones as well as running economy. That is a total approach. Stephen Seiler, a well known exercise physiologist, said normal athletes should train like the world's best athletes. However, to runners, I say the opposite. Don't do that. Many runners who switch from the 80-20 approach to easy interval training prove this. In the book Easy Interval Method, you will find schedules for all distances from 800 meter to marathon, from training twice to 7 or 8 times a week, and with some advice to do even more. A preview of the book can be downloaded for free via easyintervalmethod.com. easyintervalmethod.com. In this preview, you can read reviews of other runners, top and normal runners, from all over the world, and it describes what all you can expect in the book. Finally, the opinion of 3 American runners. Ken S., as an over 65-year-old experienced runner, easy interval method preferred training method over the frequented stress and injury-related traditional methods of training. Benefits: less stress on my joints, improved recovery, performance, health, enjoyment from running. I highly recommend it. Brian Bryant said, game changer. I have read at least a dozen well-known books. This book explains things better and is easier to understand than any so far. I'm 60 years and am now running some of the best training and racing of my life. Having spent hundreds of hours reading books, blogs, articles, and watching countless YouTube videos, I will say that this book is what I've been looking for, and I cannot recommend it more highly. It is a hidden gem. These two comments can be found on Amazon.com at the bottom of the page regarding the book Easy Interval Method. Then another review, Masters World Record Breaker and Masters World Champion, American Dan King, said, I am a big proponent of the easy interval method and expect it to be my primary training structure for the foreseeable future. You can find his schedules in my book. Okay, folks, I hope you found it interesting. Please follow the link below and visit Easy Interval Method. Cheers!